There comes a time in every person's life when the road seems unclear. You've planned everything meticulously. You've done the research, put in the effort, made the right calls, spoken to the right people. Yet still, nothing seems to be moving. That's the exact moment when you are being taught a powerful lesson. Not about planning, not about effort, but about tawakkul, trust in Allah. True trust begins where your ability to control ends. Until then, what you have is reliance on yourself, dressed up as trust in Allah. But when the situation moves beyond your grip, that's when the heart either panics or it surrenders. The beauty of trusting Allah is that it's not passive. It's not about sitting with folded arms, expecting the sky to rain gold. No, real trust requires action. It requires struggle. It demands movement. But when you've done your part, when your hands are tied, and you realize nothing more can be done on your part, this is where trust comes alive. Trust is not laziness. It is not an excuse to sit back. It is the condition of the heart after the effort is done, when the soul says, "Oh Allah, I have done all I can, and now I leave this matter to you." That moment is sacred. When a believer reaches that level of trust, the heart experiences a calm unlike any other. You are no longer shaken by the uncertainty because you know the one in control is never unaware. The plans you have may not be perfect, but His plans always are. Sometimes He will withhold what you desire because He knows it will harm you. Sometimes He will delay what you seek because the timing is not right. And sometimes He will give you more than you ever asked because He is most generous. But all of this starts when you let go of control. Not effort, not prayer, not determination, but the illusion that you have to control everything. That's why so many of us are restless, because we're trying to do both. We act as if we trust Allah, but in reality, we only feel secure when we are in charge. The moment we lose control, our anxiety rises, our fears overtake us, and we begin to ask questions. Why is this happening? Why isn't it working? What did I do wrong? But real tawakkul silences all of that. Real trust says, even if I don't understand, I know my Lord does. And that's enough. You'll notice something else too. The more you trust in Allah, the more your heart feels settled, even if the world around you isn't. You're not shaken by people's comments, you're not broken by failed plans, and you're not devastated by closed doors. Because your security is not in the doors, but in the one who opens them. And when He opens, no one can shut. When He provides, no one can block. When He blesses, no one can take it away. One of the greatest misunderstandings people carry is the idea that difficulty means punishment. That hardship must mean Allah is displeased. That pain is proof of divine abandonment. But this is far from the truth. In fact, some of the most beloved souls to Allah were tested the most severely. The prophets themselves went through unimaginable trials. Not because they were being punished, but because they were being elevated, purified, and prepared for greater roles. Your struggle is not a sign of rejection. It is often a sign of refinement. When something hard strikes you, whether it's loss, betrayal, financial hardship, or loneliness, the first question that arises is, why me? But perhaps the better question is, what is Allah trying to teach me? Because hidden in every difficulty is a message. Sometimes it's a reminder that you've been too attached to the world. Sometimes it's a push to turn back to prayer. Sometimes it's a doorway to something far greater than you imagine. But you only realize that in hindsight. In the moment, it just feels heavy. That's why trust is needed, not in the comfort, but in the discomfort. Not when things are easy, but when they're falling apart. Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. That's not just a verse. It's a truth. You might feel overwhelmed, but the one who created you knows your capacity better than you do. You might be asking, how will I get through this? But He is saying, with every hardship comes ease. Not after hardship, but with it. Meaning even inside the trial, there's a gift. It could be growth. It could be clarity. It could be a shift in your priorities. Whatever it is, it's meant to lead you closer to Him. It's also important to remember that every difficulty has an expiry date. No pain lasts forever. No storm stays. But while you're in it, it feels like it'll never end. That's where Sabr, patience, and Tawakkul, trust, work together. Patience gets you through the pain. Trust tells your heart that there's a reason for it. And together, they create resilience. A believer who carries both becomes unshakable. Because even when life is falling apart on the outside, their heart is firm on the inside. That firmness doesn't come from themselves. It comes from knowing Allah is near. Sometimes you'll find that the very thing you thought was breaking you was actually building you. The tears you cried in private, the prayers you whispered in the dark, the nights you couldn't sleep, they weren't signs of weakness. They were signs of transformation. You were being reshaped, and reshaping hurts. But it's necessary, because what Allah wants to give you is often greater than what you wanted for yourself. And to receive it, you must go through that change. We live in a world that often teaches us to chase people, chase their approval, chase their support, chase their resources. We're taught that if you want to succeed, you need to know someone in power, someone wealthy, someone who can open the door for you. But a believer knows something far deeper, that provision doesn't come from creation, it comes from the Creator. Your sustenance, your opportunities, your financial security, your food, your career, they are all written by Allah before you even existed. And when you understand that, your heart becomes free from fear. How many times have people promised you help and then turned away? How many jobs seemed certain only to vanish at the last moment? How many clients backed out? How many doors closed? How many plans collapsed? And yet you're still here, still eating, still breathing, still surviving. That's not by accident. That's not because someone remembered you. That's because Allah never forgot you. Even when you were unaware of Him, He was taking care of you. Rizq, your provision, is not limited to money. It includes health, relationships, time, inner peace, knowledge, and even the ability to worship. Some people have all the money in the world, but no contentment. Others' lives simply but sleep with peace in their hearts. So never reduce provision to the number in your bank account. Provision is everything Allah gives you to support your life and your soul. And He is not limited by market trends, by economies, by managers, or by clients. He gives to whom He wills, when He wills, and how He wills. But here's the test. When things get tight, where does your heart run? Does it panic and run to people? Or does it turn to the one who owns everything? Allah loves it when you ask from Him. In fact, He commands it. Of call upon me, I will respond. There is no queue, no appointment, no office hours. Any time of day, any language, any place, you call and He hears. That's the relationship of trust He wants you to build. Not one where you only turn to Him when you're desperate, but one where He is your first resort, not your last. And remember this, if something was written for you, no one can take it away. If something was not written for you, no one can hand it to you. The people you meet, the interviews you attend, the proposals you receive, all of them are part of the means. But the source remains Allah. That's why some people chase jobs endlessly and get nothing, while others sit quietly and opportunities come to them without effort. It's not magic, it's divine distribution. And the more you anchor your heart in that truth, the more peace you'll find, even when times are tough. Don't ever think your success lies in a specific country, a specific job, or a specific person. If Allah wants to provide for you, He can do it in the middle of a desert. Look at how He fed Maryam under a palm tree. Look at how He provided for Musa in the waters of the Nile. Look at how He opened doors for Yusuf from the depths of a prison. And look at how He continues to provide for you even when you forget to thank Him. That is your Lord, the source of all provision. One of the heaviest burdens we carry is the pressure to control outcomes. We try so hard to dictate how things should unfold, how people should respond, how plans should go, how events should align. And when things don't go the way we imagined, we break. We blame ourselves, we blame others, sometimes even questioning Allah's wisdom. But the truth is, we were never meant to carry the burden of results. That's not our job. Our job is to act sincerely, to try our best, and then leave the outcome to the one who knows best. This is where tawakkul, true trust in Allah, transforms your inner world. Because once you've done your part, what benefit is there in overthinking, stressing, or trying to force results? That only exhausts your soul. You see, control is an illusion. You never really had it. Even your heartbeat is not in your hands. Even your breath is not something you command. If the most basic functions of your life are not in your control, why worry endlessly about the outcomes of things beyond your reach? Letting go of the outcome doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you put your effort in the right place, on the process, not the result. It means you pray, you plan, you work, and then you pause. And in that pause, your heart says, "Oh Allah, if it's good for me, make it happen. If it's not, take it away and give me better." That's a heart that trusts, a heart that is not shaken by success or failure, because it is anchored in submission. So many of us lose sleep over things we can't change, replaying conversations in our minds, wondering what we should have done differently, worrying about what people think. But imagine if we truly believed that what is meant for us will reach us even if the world stands against it. And what is not meant for us will never come our way, no matter how hard we chase it. That belief doesn't make you lazy. It makes you calm. It gives you the strength to keep moving forward without being obsessed with the outcome. Sometimes the outcome you wanted would have harmed you. Sometimes the delay is actually a protection. Sometimes what you see as a loss is actually a redirection. But you'll only see that once you stop fighting the outcome and start trusting the wisdom behind it. Allah knows what you don't. He sees the future you can't. And He's more merciful to you than you are to yourself. So why not let go? Why not breathe a little easier, knowing that you're in the care of the one who never makes mistakes? Letting go also helps you in relationships. You stop trying to control people. You stop needing everyone to approve of you. You stop expecting others to fill your emotional voids, because you've shifted your reliance from the creation to the Creator. That's not detachment. It's maturity. It's spiritual intelligence. It's knowing your role in the story and allowing the author to write it the way he knows is best. We live in a time where people are addicted to approval. They want likes, comments, praise, attention. They want to be acknowledged, applauded, and appreciated. And when that doesn't happen, they feel invisible, worthless, forgotten. But a person who trusts in Allah rises above that need. Their self-worth isn't tied to the opinion of others. It's tied to their relationship with their Lord. They don't need to be seen by people when they know they're seen by Allah. This doesn't mean you don't value kindness or recognition. It means your heart isn't enslaved to it. You're not living to impress. You're living to serve. And the more you do that, the more peaceful you become. Because people are inconsistent. Today they love you, tomorrow they forget you. Today they praise you, tomorrow they criticize you. If your identity is tied to that roller coaster, you'll never find peace. But if your identity is tied to pleasing Allah, you become unshakable. His validation doesn't fluctuate. His appreciation is not dependent on trends. His rewards are not delayed. And His gaze is always upon you. When your heart is filled with trust in Allah, you stop chasing people who don't see your worth. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You stop performing for an audience that keeps changing its expectations. You start living with quiet strength. That strength doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from knowing that you are enough in the sight of the one who created you. That you don't need to be perfect to be accepted. You just need to be sincere. This trust also helps you through criticism. Because when you know Allah sees your intentions, you don't break down when people doubt your actions. When you know your worth is defined by your Lord, you don't lose sleep over being underestimated. You understand that this world is temporary and its applause is hollow. What matters is what remains with Allah. And when He is pleased with you, what more could you want? Sometimes the validation you're seeking from people is actually a distraction from the spiritual validation you should be seeking from Allah. Because when you crave approval from people, you begin to compromise your values. You begin to say things just to be liked. You start hiding your faith to fit in. You start doing things not for truth, but for claps. But a believer with trust knows that the only hand worth holding onto is the one that never lets go. And even when you feel invisible in this world, know that every deed you do for the sake of Allah is recorded, appreciated, and rewarded. Your late night prayers, your silent patience, your quiet generosity, your unseen struggles, nothing goes unnoticed. The one who sees the black ant on a black rock in the darkest of nights surely sees you too. And when you trust in Him, you no longer need the world to see you. My brothers and sisters, if there's one thing we all must come to terms with, it's that this life is not always going to go our way. There will be setbacks. There will be delays. There will be moments when nothing makes sense. And in those moments, the heart either collapses under the weight of worry or it stands tall with the strength of tawakkul. Trusting in Allah is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is the foundation upon which inner peace is built, the compass that guides us when all signs seem lost, and the anchor that holds us firm when the waves of life grow wild. When you trust in Allah, your heart no longer races with fear over what may or may not come. You're no longer obsessed with outcomes, with who likes you, with what's being said behind closed doors. You are focused on what pleases your Creator. That trust allows you to walk into uncertain places with certain faith. It gives you permission to let go of what was never in your hands and to find contentment in knowing that Allah's plans are always better than your own. This trust doesn't mean life will be free of difficulty. It means you'll be equipped to handle it. You'll learn to smile through storms. You'll find calm in chaos. And you'll discover the strength that comes not from having all the answers, but from knowing the one who does. You will stop relying on creation for validation and turn your full hope to the Creator of all things. You'll realize that provision, success, healing, and peace come not from people, not from places, but from the one who has power over all things. And when that trust becomes rooted in your soul, everything else becomes lighter. The burdens don't vanish, but they no longer crush you. The pain doesn't disappear, but it no longer defines you. Because your heart knows if Allah is with you, nothing can defeat you. If He is guiding you, no path is truly lost. If He is protecting you, no harm can overpower you. And if He is testing you, He is preparing you. So walk with faith. Strive with sincerity. Let your efforts be real and your heart be surrendered. Keep turning back to Allah in your moments of fear, in your moments of joy, in your moments of doubt. Because trusting in Him isn't something you do only when you're in trouble. It's a way of life. It's a constant whisper in your soul. Allah knows. Allah sees. Allah will never forsake me. And that, more than anything, is what gives a believer peace in a world full of uncertainty.